Welcome to another episode of The Mind's Eye with Mike Lowry. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in as always. I really do appreciate it. I got another good one for you today. Today we're going to be talking about child support, some of the ins and outs, some of the experiences that we've had, some ways that we can help people prevent, some of the situations that we've been through. And if you do find yourself caught up in those same situations, things that you could do to kind of maneuver through it and make sure the situation works a little better for you. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Paul, man, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Welcome to The Mind's Eye with Mike Lowry. I really do appreciate it, man. Tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. First of all, thank you for inviting me. This is something I've definitely been wanting to share and talk about. But yeah, a little bit about me. So I was in sales for about 15, 16 years.
Okay.
A beast of a salesman, if I do say so myself.
There you go.
But in recent years, I kind of found myself hitting a wall. And I decided to leave sales, and I told myself if I was gonna work, I was gonna do something that I love. So now I'm a chef.
Okay.
And the journey has been great. It's one of the best decisions I've made, and I'm just happy with how things are progressing. So I have a 9 to 5 as a chef, but I also do catering. For events and for private experiences.
Absolutely. If you guys are looking for catering, this is the man you need to connect with. His info will be in the bio. So I wanted to talk to you about a sticky subject. And the subject is going to be about child support. A lot of us are experiencing that situation and things like that, and it's has been a detriment to some people. Can you tell us a little bit about what your experience has been like with child support?
Yeah, sure. I can't think of too many people that would have a conversation about child support and be happy with their experience.
Right.
I'll say that much. Just to begin with, but yeah. So I have 3 children. I pay child support for my oldest daughter. Which is something that had been kind of set up from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because her mother and I were never in a
relationship,
full-blown relationship.
Yeah.
Right. We never shared a living space. So yeah, I pay child support for her, and then for my younger 2 children, I'm going through the process now to be on child support for them as well.
Okay. So they're all by the same mom, I would assume, or?
No. So my first child has a different mother than my younger 2.
Okay. So for me, I've been on child support for 22 years. Yeah, my oldest daughter she'll be 22 in February. So I don't have to obviously pay child support for her anymore. But I do for the youngest 2. My son is 14 and my youngest is 10. So I've been on child support for a long time. So I kind of understand, the ins and outs of like kind of how it works. And, I understand what it was supposed to be designed for, but, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So how has child support affected your life? Like, and things that you do?
Yeah, man. So child support, part of me is glad that there's a system in place where I can make sure that I'm able to support my child when they're not in my presence.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
However, the way that the system is set up and the math is set up, child support has definitely taken a toll on the way that I live my life.
Sure.
I mean, I have to make decisions based on my finances, and I know that if I have a certain amount coming out of my check, I have to just restructure the way that I break down, my finances and what I can spend money on. Also, when it comes to child support, I'll give you an example. Let's say I make $300, right? And 100 of those dollars automatically goes to child support.
Right.
The problem with that is, theoretically, it's like, okay, child support should be based on how much of my income should go to my child.
Yeah.
However, if I make $300 and my child doesn't live with me, 100 goes to them. That means when my child is with me, I only have $200 to make work, right? Whereas if my child did live with me and I wasn't on child support, I make $300 if I spend 100 on my child, whether it's for food or whatever,
Yeah.
I can also be part of that as
Right.
I have more to work with, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, with child support for me, like it has been where um the system was set up a certain way to the point you're making about like if you have $300, you're giving away 100, not you're giving your child $100, for their support, and you essentially have 200 left. It's been where like I would be given $150 and only having 150 left,
Yeah,
and taxes hadn't been taken out yet either.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of like been what like my experience has been overall. But yeah, but let's move along because
Yeah, well, you know what?
hmm
You said taxes, and it made me think of something that I heard. I haven't confirmed it for myself, but I
yeah,
saw online somewhere that there was some new legislation potentially being passed where, because we pay tax on child support
yeah,
and mothers don't,
yeah,
um, when it comes time to file for taxes,
hmm
the person receiving child support
yeah,
can no longer claim the children
right,
for
yeah.
tax benefits.
I heard that same thing, and I had someone working with like a legislator because I've been doing a lot to try to
Mm,
like fix these laws. I know my daughter is older now, but I
mm-hmm,
still have younger kids. But I'm really trying to focus on how I can help better situations for like younger men,
mm-hmm.
because if the system doesn't change a little bit, then you're gonna have more absent fathers because they're gonna have to just work just to
Yeah.
pay child support. And so I have heard that who's ever on child support, because there's women on child support too,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have a point at some point where they're going to be able to file, or claim the child on their taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So they have been trying to get back with me in a way where they're not sure yet. It's on the table,
Got it.
but I would assume it probably would be something that's probably 2027. I would think. I know I need it to be now
Yeah, right.
because
The sooner the better.
because like if you get money back, and you owe a little bit, they get it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But when you do your taxes, let's say you're making $70,000 a year, but you're paying $15,000 of that into child support.
Yeah.
That's income you don't get to claim.
Yep.
So you end up paying a higher percentage, or usually typically owe money at the end. You know what I mean? So you're just in a worse situation.
You
From
get
there.
taxed twice because also
Exactly.
when your child support amount is being calculated,
Yeah.
they base it off of your gross income.
Yeah.
So they don't even take taxes into
They
consideration.
don't. Healthcare, they don't take any of that into
Nope.
consideration. Yeah. So with that being said, like my next question, I would assume that like you understand what the need is for, but do you feel like the setup and the way it's being done is fair?
I do not,
Mhm.
for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
I'll give one example. If child support was created to make sure that the child is in the best situation
Mhm.
possible,
Yeah.
but the child support is putting a strain on the non-custodial parent or the parent who has to pay child
Mhm.
support to a point where they're stressed, they're not able to function at their best.
Mhm.
They may develop resentment towards the child's opposing parent. They
Right.
may develop resentment towards the child, or the parent just isn't able to fully contribute to the child the way they want to
Yeah.
because their money is being taken and being put somewhere else.
Mhm.
Then it's not creating the best scenario for the child.
Right.
I think it can work.
Mhm.
There are just changes that need to be made.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
ultimately, what needs to happen is there needs to be some conversations
Mhm.
and then some legislation moved forward that
Absolutely.
shifts the paradigm.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, especially like with my situation too, like if you think about like if you're paying especially a high amount of child support,
Mm-hmm.
it gets lopsided because let's say that, the lady has the child.
Mm-hmm.
So with my youngest daughter, I had to file for custody, for
Mm-hmm.
joint custody. I had to pay money
Mm-hmm.
to get joint custody.
Yep.
And so if she can be the custodial parent without having to go to court, without having to do anything, and then she can go to child support on Monday, it'll come out of my check by Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 4 years after filing for joint custody to get joint custody of my child.
That's
And so
wild.
that is the unfair part of the system. If child support is supposed to be designed to for the betterment of the child, then we have to figure out a situation where they can do it in a way where the physical is just as important as the financial.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're saying that she can go over there at her mom's house now, and maybe her mom has moved on, and with someone else, and then now that lifestyle for the kid is they got the PS5s over there, they got all these nice things
because they're in a 2-income household.
They're in a 2-income household and part of yours.
Mm-hmm.
So they're essentially
really
in a
a 3-income household. Yeah, that's true.
So then now when they come back to your household is partial. And then so they don't have the same amenities, if you will, when they come back to dad. And that's unfortunate. So because kids start to like, well, we just watch Netflix. I mean,
right.
And then like you can go to the park, but in wintertime it's cold outside. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you can find ways, but a PS5 for a child and going to the park at this day and time is two totally different things.
Totally different things. It is funny because you'll be in that situation where, okay, the child is used to a certain lifestyle when they're outside of your household because they have access to more or they're more funded. But then when they're with you, they don't quite have what they're used to at mom's or whatever. It impacts the relationship. And it also impacts the way that they view you. And that could create insecurities. And again, it's a snowball effect.
Absolutely.
Man, there was something else you said that I wanted to jump in on. It'll come back to me though.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so with that being said, like as a man, I know we have aspirations, we have dreams, we have things that we want to do. How do you feel, or do you think that child support and the way it's set up has played a part with how successful you are or not? Do you feel like you would have been much better off if the situation was a little more fair, as a parent as well as a man that with success?
I'll say this. In all honesty, like it's easy to make a child. It's hard to raise a child.
Sure.
Right. If you completely remove child support from the situations, going from a single man to a father already had an impact on my career trajectory or the way that I was going to live my life.
Yeah.
Child support obviously did not make that any better. Having that financial strain, yes, it absolutely impacts what you can do. And for me, I would say it had less of an impact on my overall career trajectory than it has some other people who I know.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I mean, it can completely ruin your plans for your life.
Yeah.
I want to tell a story.
Okay, sure.
Because this is an example of how unfair the system is and how you can easily get caught up in a situation that you shouldn't have been in the first place. So I told you I'm currently going through the process for my younger two children.
Okay.
I had a court hearing. I'm sitting down with the caseworker.
Yeah.
And she's telling me an amount that it's outrageous.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
And I'm just not understanding how she came to that number. So I'm asking questions. Are you taking this into consideration? Are you taking that into consideration? Because typically these are factors that impact that amount.
Yeah.
And she's just looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And the whole time for like the first 15 minutes of our interaction, she just has this attitude towards me. And I'm just trying to figure out like, why is she so mad? I'm just trying to,
right.
She's like looking at me almost as if like, why are you asking me these questions?
Yeah.
So we actually dig deeper and deeper, and we discovered that she had no idea that I had shared custody of my children.
Okay.
Absolutely no idea. The reason why this is important is because there are 3 different worksheets for how much you spend on child support. There's worksheet A, which is for a single parent who is sole custodial parent of the children.
Right.
There's worksheet B, which is for if you share custody. And then there's worksheet C, which is if you have an actual split custody agreement in place.
Yep.
How much you spend a month on child support is determined based on those worksheets.
Yeah.
Once she actually made that adjustment, you should have seen this look of shock on her face.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, this changes things completely. And it's what actually went from me having to pay as much as she had to there being potential for me receiving child support.
Okay.
So that is a complete turnaround.
Yeah.
And had I not known what I know from experience, I would have been an unfortunate person who is paying an outrageous amount of child support who can barely survive.
So to your point, this is exactly why this is important, because like you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes like people go through certain situations so other people don't have to. And so like for me, about 10 years ago, I was probably making about $3,100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my oldest and my middle son on child support, and I was paying for their insurance. Now, mind you, $3,100 a month. Had both of them on child support, paying insurance. They had me paying $1,100 for those two kids.
That's crazy.
When my youngest got on, they added another $500 to that, and my daughter's mom wouldn't let me see my child. And so that's like $1,500 out of my check of $3,000. So then, so that's over. So the state of North Carolina says that you can't take more than 50% as a garnishment, right? But the county will say, well, we'll try it anyways. So they have my child support at $1,500 a month. Taxes hadn't came out yet.
Right.
Healthcare hadn't came out yet. I was literally taking home $543 every 2 weeks. Not to mention, the state won't allow them to take any more money out. So the difference goes in the rears every month as an active payer. That is the epitome of something that's
Just
unfair.
digging yourself in a hole.
And so with how it affected my life, like there's been things that I have had access to that I can't do anything about because majority of my money is going to somebody else, whether it's taxes, whether it's child support. So therefore, when the kids would come over, we just sitting around the house. There ain't nothing to do. You can't do nothing.
Right.
You know
You ain't got no more bread. That reminds me of a story that I heard. So I was in the courthouse. And when you go to a hearing, I'm sure if you've experienced this before, like there are other people who go up in front of the judge. So you get to see and hear everything.
Yeah.
This one man went up there. He is trying to build a case that he should no longer have to pay child support because his son passed away 5 years ago. And the judge looked him dead in the eyes and said, well, there's nothing we can do about that. This is money that you owe. So I understand that child support is necessary to, like we said, create a better life for the child, make sure that the child is receiving the proper amount of financial support.
Absolutely.
If the child is deceased, continuing to pay, it's hard to justify that. But because it's the law, it makes it right.
But the thing is, my dad made a good point about it. It's like it's a guideline though. Like it's like it's not even really the law, if you will. It's like the way they set it up in a way where like it's backed by the law, but it's because like if we go in there and our numbers look the way it's supposed to be, where it shows that I pay $100, the judge can deviate and still say you pay $200. They can do that. So, but when it's in the favor of the woman, it'll flip. It'll be the other way around. And I think it's just unfortunate, man, overall. And I'm really trying to do something about it. But so with that being said, how do you think that it has affected the kid's life?
Yeah, so when I think about my oldest child, earlier on when I first started paying child support, again, you want to be able to give from a full cup, right?
Yeah.
And when you're giving from a half-empty cup, it's harder to give. So there was not just the financial strain, but there was also other factors, like even with the custody agreement in place, her mom not allowing me to see the child when we were, scheduled. And I don't want to talk bad about her mom.
Absolutely.
It was
I understand.
it was a rough beginning.
Yeah.
And it absolutely had an impact on my child's life. It had an impact on her mood. It had an impact on her anxiety. Even to the point where I couldn't drop her off with family members. Couldn't drop her off at daycare without her going, can I say ape shit?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she would go wild, and it would hurt me. Like, I would have to walk away because the sooner I left, the sooner she would get back to normal. But that's that separation anxiety.
Yeah.
So my children, even my younger two children, are impacted by the child support that I pay for their big sister because that gives me less of a pool to work with to make sure that they have.
Yeah, man, it has affected my kid's life tremendously. And I remember my oldest daughter graduated high school, and my middle child, there was a request in the mail a month later for an increase, like a month after she graduated. And so after she graduated, obviously, went to court. They literally gave her $300 more because my oldest was 18 anymore. So I was technically not
So
child
she was
support
like, "That's money
responsible.
on the table. She wants
Yeah.
to go snatch it up."
So
That's
man. So technically, that's what people don't understand is like just because your child turns 18, don't mean you stop being a father. So if she needs something or she needs me to
absolutely.
come help her with something,
I tell people
I
that all
still
the
need
time.
to help her with resources. But now you're overloading my money on one child just because this kid is over
Yeah,
18.
that's a perfect example of the system not being fair. Like there's certain factors that are not really taken into consideration when
Right.
they're calculating how much should be spent. And to your point, like think about when you turned 18 or when you went off to college or whatever. Were you not hitting up your parents for
All
money?
the time.
Like
All the
come on,
time.
you might not have to pay child support anymore, but you're still
Yeah.
supporting that
You're
child.
still supporting that child because they may need help with something. Like they got college that's going on. They need money for school, whatever the case
They're
may
young
be.
adults. They're broke.
The young adults, they're
They're figuring
broke.
life
They,
out.
they need help. You know what I mean? So that's crazy. So I like to be a person of angel's advocate, right? So just as much as we can like look at the system and maybe think that the moms could have went about something different. What is it that you feel like you could have done different, or where is an opportunity where you feel like you can take some accountability?
Yeah, so I would say that earlier on for my youngest daughter, I was a much different person, much younger person, and I wanted all the smoke,
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of tit for tat going on, and obviously, the children are the ones catching strays, right?
Absolutely.
So
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like I could have done more on my end to create peace, and try to work through situations as opposed to uh, being guided by my emotions.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a tough battle for anybody,
Sure.
especially if you're in a situation where you're not able to see your kid like you want to or like you should.
Yeah.
And then you have all that emotional strain going on, and then now you have to spend time with your child and you're not able to give them your all. So try to compartmentalize whatever issues you have with the opposing parent,
Yeah.
and not let it interfere with your time with your child, but also try to understand that regardless of whatever emotional issues you have with the other parent, you got business to tend to.
Right.
And if you tend to that business correctly, it'll pay off in the long run.
For sure. Yeah, man. I think that's super important. For me, like I guess to the point you're making, I would just go about fighting the fight differently. You know what I mean? Because like what people don't understand that like you feel.
Yeah.
Like, you have emotions like you're like, I shouldn't have to fight this hard to see something that I created.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be a part of something I created. This is just ridiculous that I'm having to go through this. And so one thing my dad taught me, he was like, stop arguing. He was just like, deny but don't argue. Deny but don't argue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you know it's not true, say that's not true and don't say nothing else after that. When I started moving like that later in life, things got a lot smoother.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done it 15
Yeah,
years
exactly.
ago.
That's
10
pretty
years
much
ago.
exactly what I'm talking
You know what I'm
about, though.
saying?
Like,
Like
just
it'd have been
pick
a
your
lot.
battles.
Absolutely.
And
then picking your battles and then like based on how you want to like fight that battle. Like you can go about it in a way where it's just like protecting your peace, or you can go about it in a way that you just gonna rile the situation up even more.
Right.
And then when you in that moment, you're not thinking about it like that because you're just kind of defending the fact that why should I have to go through this to see my child? I
And
shouldn't have to
also
do
picking your battles. You got 5 battles to fight.
that.
There's one that's more important than all the other ones.
Yeah.
Save your energy for the one that really matters.
For sure, absolutely. So with that being said, with us taking accountability, what is something you think that women can go or do different in this situation? Because what people don't understand is like women, like let's say they say you need to pay $1,500, and the system, and you and everybody know that's 50% of your income. She can say, "Hey, I'll just take 1,000 instead of the 1,500."
Yeah.
She can do that. She has
Absolutely.
the ability to do that. So.
Look, I'm gonna put it to you like this: early on, unless you're dealing, it all really depends on how this separation came about, right?
Yeah.
But I will say, typically, fresh after a breakup, emotions are running high, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to expect somebody to look out for your best interests.
Right.
But if they are compartmentalizing, as I
Mm-hmm.
said we should, then
Mm-hmm.
they would understand that putting this other parent in a position where they're struggling to survive
Mm-hmm.
is actually not what's best for my child.
Right.
So take that into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you're not being unfair. Just
Yeah.
because the court says this number is fair doesn't mean that it actually is.
Right.
So do what's necessary and step in if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, rocky start with the
Mm-hmm.
mother of my first child,
Yeah.
but literally as of 2-3 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
she agreed to contact our caseworker
Mm-hmm.
and build a case for me
Yeah.
spending less per month on child support.
That's awesome, man. Like my oldest daughter, like we had a rough start. We both were 19,
Mm-hmm.
and like now, if you really get to think about it, she and I like friends now.
Yeah,
Like low
yeah,
key,
we
like you know what
cool.
I'm saying. Like we mad cool. Like if my daughter calls her first, she'll call me and be like, "All right, we're about to call your daddy." You know, she wouldn't do that
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah,
And so I am so grateful for that, even though it got to this,
yeah,
but we here now. So I'm
yeah.
grateful for her for that. But I think the biggest thing that I think women should really look at is that, like, what's at stake here? We should really focus on the child and
Mm-hmm.
the betterment, especially in our community.
Yeah.
If we are raising kids to where you're so upset and bitter, that's men or women,
Mm-hmm.
just because they may have moved on or you're not together anymore, how is it impacting the child? That's what has to be the most important, because do you really want your child growing up making the same mistakes? If you
I
looked
was
at a
just about to
mirror
say that.
and if you looked at a mirror and you see how you and your ex are interacting and your child is witnessing it, would you be okay with your kid experiencing that same turmoil?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's so important because people tend to make a mistake of only thinking about how this is impacting my child in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
might be like, okay, well, it's okay. She's going to
Mm-hmm.
forget about it. She's not even going to remember this. Or I'm saying she because I have daughters.
Right.
Um,
All girls?
all girls.
Okay, I got a boy in the middle.
See, I grew up with
Yeah.
4 sisters. So I
Okay.
felt like that was
Yeah.
my training ground. God already knew what was going on.
Right.
But no, so like you have to also think about all this
Mm-hmm.
negative pent up energy that you have towards the other parent.
Mm-hmm.
Your child picks up on that. And how you handle your relationship
Yeah.
is going to be how they handle their relationships when
Absolutely.
they get older. So
Absolutely.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So, what do you think that the system can do different, like to
Whew.
better the situation? We talked about like how we could probably go about the situation different, how what women can do. The ultimate thing is, what do you think the system can do different?
Yeah, so there are conversations being held already about
Mm-hmm.
changes that would
Yeah.
help for sure. I think what needs to happen is community
Mm-hmm.
organization,
Yeah.
um, maybe a think tank of sorts to really
Mm-hmm.
hash through, okay, what changes
Mm-hmm.
to the system are absolutely necessary and
Mm-hmm.
would have a positive impact
Mm-hmm.
on the child,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Once we come to terms on that, we push for legislation to be changed.
Yeah.
And if we lobby for this legislation changes the right way, we will see them.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the changes I would really like to see is a revision
Mm-hmm.
of the worksheets that are used to determine
100%.
what the non-custodial parent pays.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be a change in the way that child support is, what's the word I'm looking for, enforced.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like right now, it's taken out of your check.
Mm-hmm.
Again, taxes are not taken into consideration.
Yeah.
But let's say you fall behind,
Mm-hmm.
then you get put on what's called a purge payment.
Yeah.
And if you miss a purge payment, you get taken to jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or if you just fall behind, period, and you don't show up to court
You're going to jail.
to
Take your
kind of
license.
explain yourself,
Yeah.
you will get taken to jail.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the courthouse recently within the past few months, and I told you this story already, but there was a man. No, I didn't tell you this story. I told my barber this story.
Okay. It was today, though.
Yeah, it was today. Yeah. I was telling him that we were going to talk. So the story is the gentleman came into the courthouse. He stood up in front of the judge and everybody else
Mm-hmm.
and said, I was told that if I fall behind on my payments, that y'all are going to send the police to my house. And I'm just here to let y'all know that I'm prepared to defend myself. And when he said it, you could hear the passion, but you could feel the pain.
Right.
This man is in a position where he obviously cannot afford whatever he's paying.
Yeah.
He said that he has made multiple attempts to contact their caseworker to try to see what can be done to lower his payment. And he's frustrated because he's not getting any responses.
Right.
I'm gonna get to that part too. But overall, he's on the verge of a crash out, and it's sad to see.
Yeah.
But he's literally going in front of the judge and saying, "Look, if y'all send police to my house, there's gonna be shots fired."
Yeah.
And the way that the system is set up, things happen in life.
Yeah,
you might go through a battle with depression. You might lose your job unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And yes, if that happens, you fall behind on child support. For me, unless you're just being completely negligent, and you have no intentions of paying child support, you shouldn't be in a position to be put in jail. Because if you're put in jail, how the hell are you going to be able to support
you take your
child
license,
then?
how are you going to get to work?
Right.
Yeah.
So there are just certain punishments or whatever set in place that I don't agree with. The third thing, sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
The third thing, before I lose the thought, is the people who are overseeing the child support, the people who are involved and impact a lot of the decisions that are made on behalf of your child in your life, are not necessarily the most well equipped.
Right.
Like, if I call my caseworker, it might be a week before I hear back.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Right.
If my caseworker is completely overwhelmed with cases to the point where they can't give my needs the right amount of attention, that is not benefiting my child in any way.
Yeah.
If the caseworker is calling my phone, leaving voicemails for the wrong person, which has happened to me,
that's crazy.
Who's to say they're not mixing up a bunch of other stuff behind the scenes?
Yeah.
And now my case is being treated wrong because of a clerical error or whatever.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of changes that can be made to the system.
I'm gonna tell you what I did just yesterday. So I'm in the process of getting my stuff revised for my youngest two, because my oldest is older now. So I've been calling and leaving voicemails, leaving voice. You know what I did yesterday? I went to the courthouse. I drove 30 minutes to get there because it's in a different county, and walked right up to the court and talked to the lady and went back and forth, gave the paperwork, went back and forth. She called me the same day, later that day. I shouldn't have to do that.
That is crazy.
I literally walked in the middle of court while they were in court just yesterday to talk to the lady I've been trying to call just yesterday. So what I think that should be changed, I think there's a lot of things that can be changed. And I think it starts with the initiation process of just a man and a woman getting together. Because I think that there's multiple people that are responsible, right? The man is responsible to some degree, the woman is responsible to some degree, and the system is responsible to some degree, the way child support has really affected everyone's life. So for an example, let's say, you're with a female and she decides that she doesn't want to keep the kid. She wants to do an abortion, but you want to keep the kid.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about it. She gets the abortion, you're just like, man, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
However, let's say, for example, there's a slip up happen and you don't want to keep the kid and she does. She can still put you on child support, even though you don't want to keep. I think that should change. If both of y'all have the responsibility to say, oh, we slipped up, somebody doesn't, want the child, I think that you can come to an agreement at a certain amount of time, and then that's what it has to be. Because if she wants to give up the child for abortion, if she wants to give it up for adoption, you don't have any say.
Freedom to do that. Yeah.
And so I also think DNA tests should be done early, because there's been so many times men are paying child support for kids that are not theirs. You know what I mean? So another thing with the system is they have to take healthcare into consideration, as well as taxes. Because if I had the kid with me, to the point you made, if I had them full time with me, I'm gonna be taking care of this kid based on money that I have left.
Yeah.
after taxes.
Yep.
So I shouldn't be paying child support based on money I don't get. I should be taking care of the kid based on money I do get.
Yeah.
I should be paying child support based on the money I get, not the money I don't get.
Yeah.
And that's the taxes. So you got me paying child support on 20% of income I don't even see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
So that alone is gonna set people up to fail.
Yeah.
You know, when you do it that way. And then you also gotta have, like, it's just a numbers game. The other thing is, I've been dealing with this for 22 years. 92%, over 92% of people I see in there look like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's hard not to think this is kind of like, fixed a certain way, because anybody can tell you that if I'm making $3,100 a month, and you tell me my child support is $1,500, and then you also tell me that I got to pay taxes, and I'm left with $1,000 a month I can live, where?
Yeah.
So you're systematically, you're putting me in a bad situation.
Absolutely.
But not only for me, you're putting my kid in a bad situation because they get less of me.
And you just feeding into the cycle.
Yeah.
It's just rinse and repeat. Because now your kid grows up in an environment where they don't have many options, because they they were never even you were never able to provide them other options. Yeah, man. Yeah. I really hate the way that works, and something does need to be done. You touched on a lot of key points.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to add as you were talking is the turnaround time. So let's say I am paying amount based on, like I said, they factor childcare, right? So let's say something happens and I have to find new childcare.
Yeah.
And now my cost for childcare skyrockets. Or let's say financial change happens where I lose my job. The turnaround time it takes for you to report that and then see a change, it's entirely too long.
Too long.
I might be straining myself for 2-3 months before I even get in front of a judge to make that
Even if you do what you're supposed to do today, your court day is probably not going to be for 60 to 90 days from that day.
Absolutely.
So then those days you're going in arrears, however much that amount is, while you're being laid off.
They're not going to wash that away.
Yeah, while you're being laid off.
You owe that.
Because if you and the lady were together, if you had got laid off, you would owe her.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just an interesting concept to feel like you have to owe the other parent anything to take care of their kid. But this is one of the, like, really important questions, is that what is something that you feel like you've learned the most about yourself in this process?
You know what? I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned just how passionate I am about child care reform.
Yeah.
No, but all jokes aside, you learn patience.
Yeah.
If you can actually figure out how to be patient. You learn perseverance, because you're going to be tested, and you got to push through, and you got to focus on the end goal. You learn outside of just child support, but like through my overall experience with my children, I've learned just how much of a heart I can have. I've become so much softer as a person emotionally, just because of my relationship with my children. And you learn the importance of financial responsibility. Like, you have to be fiscally responsible in order to be able to provide for your children.
For sure.
So, regardless of what good or bad, or regardless of what bad may have come from my experiences with child support, I do completely understand, and I do agree that as a parent, you have to provide for your child in order for them to live a healthy, happy life.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to think that we're saying that people don't need child support, because they do. We understand that finances are necessary, but we also understand being physical, present is necessary as well. It's just that there's come a time where it has gotten to a point where, like, people aren't being able to live just because they're on child support, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be set up like that.
You can be present but not be present if you got all kinds of stuff in the back of your mind. Like,
absolutely,
how am I going to keep this AC on?
Yeah.
In the middle of the summertime,
and it's only because you had a kid. It's not because you don't have integrity. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're not a good man. It's just because you thought you were onto something. You thought you were going to create a family. It didn't work out. Because it didn't work out, it caused a lot of turmoil for you.
We're gonna
That's
have to come
lingering.
back and have another conversation.
For sure.
Because
For sure.
we haven't even started talking about custody.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole nother
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah. We definitely gotta do a part 2 for sure.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say,
I was just gonna say, you're right.
Mhm.
There is a certain stigma that comes with
Mhm.
being a single parent, whether
Yeah.
you're a male or a female. People think, oh, you were just out here running wild in the streets, shooting the
Yeah.
club up.
Right.
My younger 2 children,
Mhm.
that was not the case.
Yeah.
You know, there was plans. You
Mhm.
know, and those plans changed.
Yeah. I mean, I even married my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
And
Your
it got
daughter's
to
wife.
my
My
daughter's
yeah,
wife.
I
Yeah, that sounded horrible.
Look, I
Thank
don't
you
know
for
what part of the
clarifying
South you
that.
from.
Yeah, appreciate that. Ooh, that's horrible. But what I've learned about myself the most is that I don't have the spirit of giving up.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like even though like it took 5 years, like I've had her for the last almost 6 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean too. And so like it has been a struggle, and I realized that I'm resilient
Mhm.
because of it. Like you know, I already mentioned that I don't give up, but it's a level of integrity. It's
Yeah.
like that you have to have in order to fight for some. It's almost like you're fighting from behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
it
All
is.
the time you're fighting from behind, but you still don't give up.
Yeah.
You're looking at the lane, just like, man, I will never get there, but you're still fighting towards that place, and hoping that one day you can overcome it. And I think that mindset I've been able to utilize for every other thing that I do too.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I was doing something for her, and I needed to have a birth certificate. I needed to get a social security card. I had to go here, there, everywhere,
Mhm.
everywhere to get an apartment, right?
Yeah.
And so, come to find out, they switched apartment to affordable housing. So they said that you have to have, like, if you make this, you got to have like a certain amount of kids to
Mhm.
support, or you're gonna make too much money. So I went and did all this stuff, went everywhere, everywhere.
On
Went
your
back
behalf.
to the complex, had my daughter stuff because I have joint custody of my daughter
Yeah.
now, and they was like, "You still make too much," and I was just like, "Dang!" Instead of being disappointed, I said, "I'm willing to do all that, not knowing what the outcome is. I can utilize these same
Mhm.
principles for other things in
Yeah,
life
you realize
and
how
be
gifted you
successful."
are, right?
Right? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Even though it didn't work out, I birthed something about me that I didn't know I had.
You found the silver lining.
Found a silver lining. And that's what my dad always said. If you see negative things are negative. If you look hard enough, you can find positive things in those situations. It's just all based on how you want to perceive it,
Mhm.
as hard as it may be. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Well, look, man, before I let you go,
Mhm.
what is it? What's something that you want to leave with the young men? You know, especially young men that looking like us that can get caught up in the system.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to them?
Man, there's a lot.
Mhm.
Number one, like you just touched on, don't give up. It's
Yeah.
gonna be hard. It's gonna get
Mhm.
harder. But the bottom line is, you have a child to raise, you have a child to take care of, and you
Mhm.
got to handle your responsibility. So you're gonna have to go through the struggle.
Mhm.
I would always advise, never let any decision that is written or determined by the courts be
Mhm.
made on your behalf without consulting a legal entity. Get some legal counsel
Mhm.
uh, before you agree to anything, because you might be setting yourself up for a world of trouble.
Right.
I would also advise that you try to, again, remove your emotions from the situation
Mhm.
and try as hard as you can to work things out with the mother of your child.
Yeah.
Try to come to an agreement on something, because if you can't agree,
Mhm.
then the judge has the power to make that decision for you. And
Mhm.
again, that's not a position you want to put yourself into.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Also, spend as much time, or make an effort to spend as much time and be present with your child, even if it's
Mhm.
just phone calls or FaceTime, as possible. Because while all this other stuff is going on behind the scenes, you still have to build that relationship with them.
For sure. Yeah.
And if the mother of your children is making that hard for you,
Mhm.
try to get creative.
Yeah.
Within the law.
Right. For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
do
Let's be
not
clear
too
about
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
Within the law.
But and the other part is, lean on your community. And
Absolutely.
if you don't have a community, if you're kind of the person that rides solo, or you're a loner, for the benefit of your child, you're going to have to develop some kind of community. Because I'll
Mhm.
give you an example. Right now, as a chef, I've been pulling 80-hour weeks.
Mhm.
So I've been having to lean more on my family
Yeah.
and my local community to support my children, or
Yeah.
watch my children
Of course.
when I'm not able to be there.
Mhm.
But that's something that I had to build over time.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for you to learn how to leverage that for sure.
Yeah. What I would say would be more of like a beginning step. And what I mean by that is that take your time. Like when you meet a good looking young lady,
Oh, you mean like beginning?
I mean, what you
Oh,
said
okay.
is right too, because you're gonna find some men that's gonna still fall in that situation where they're gonna have to co-parent, but then you're gonna also find some men that could have probably, man, I gotta choose. I should have chose a different, situation.
Yeah.
This situation wasn't, conducive with what I want to do.
Yep.
And I think oftentimes, like some stuff can be preventative too. And so, like what you said
Absolutely.
is perfect. It's 100% correct. Once you're in that situation, these are the things that you can do.
Yeah.
But what can we do to prevent some of those situations? Because you look back, you think like, man, I probably could have did that a little different. I probably could have took my time, and I could have seen certain signs that if we get in a real bad situation, this is how it might be. This might how it might turn out. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that like when it comes to these young guys, they got to protect themselves. And what I mean by protect themselves physically
Yeah.
until they know that like this is the girl that they're going to be with, until they, get married, and stuff like that. And I think that we should also do a better job of that and figuring out how we can prevent, situations like we've had to endure, and also how to help kids that may have to still deal with the situations we have to endure to kind of create a better future for them as well.
Yeah.
There's the preventing and the sustainability aspect of it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Talk about. I mean, I used to work for Firestone Complete Auto Care, and one of the things we always talked about was preventative maintenance. Right?
Yeah.
How can you actually prevent your car from breaking down and having these situations?
Right.
And you do that by taking proper care. Right?
Absolutely.
Like you said, use protection, make smart decisions.
Yeah.
Make sure you're analyzing people's character.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's easier. It's very easy to make a child.
It is.
It's not. It's not easy to raise one.
It's not easy to raise.
And you gotta keep that in the back.
Yeah, especially it's not easy to raise with someone that you don't know.
Yeah.
Like we co-parenting. We don't even know each other.
Yeah.
I was 19.
Yeah.
She was 19.
That's a realization that hits you hard.
It does.
You're
man.
like, wow,
it really does.
I don't even.
Looking back,
like,
I don't take. I'm glad my babies are here.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. But if there could have been a situation for someone else to not go through some of the things that I've gone through, I would much rather them take precaution to find the right situation to, and have a better situation, because the kid's going to be better for it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of the stuff that I missed out or my kids missed out wasn't even our fault. It was more of like the system. You know what I mean? And so I don't want other people to go through what I went through, because it was tough, man. It's been tough, and it's tough on the kids too.
Yeah,
the kids got to go back and forth. Your mama telling them this, that. I don't wish that on anybody.
Man, all this talk is just bringing up. We talked earlier about how child support has impacted me financially.
Yeah.
Just running back and forth to the courthouse
for
court hearings,
taking off work,
off work, having to make up that time, or having to have that conversation with your supervisor or your manager, like, hey, listen, I can't be here on this time of the day because I got to go to court, or I have, dealing with all of that stuff.
Yeah,
it can be more of a headache than it needs to be, man.
It
is very taxing, and if you don't want to have to deal with any of that at all,
be careful. Protect yourself.
Make good decisions.
Yeah, take some steps back. I know she look good, but just be mindful of how things can go. Especially like if you're 19, 20, and you're working, barely making ends meet. You're broke. Don't put yourself in a situation where they call it stupid tax.
Yeah. It's you're just making it harder than it needs to be.
Yeah, and I want to leave the people with this one statistic. Over 58% of Black men live in the house with their kids. So that stereotype has to change. We are two men that have joint custody to some degree, and we are involved, and we still pay child support. So I want people to understand that Black men do care about their kids. Black men are present, and we want to nip this stuff in the bud and create better communities, better situations, so that we all can come together and thrive together, even if we have to co-parent. You know what I mean? So
I agree 100%.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for the time. Yeah. Yes, sir. We'll link up again for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that concludes another episode of The Mind's Eye with Mike Lowry. Guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget we have hoodies, bracelets. We just introduced shirts. All that information will be in the bio. Please share to a friend. Please like. Please subscribe. If you do want to see more content and you want to support this channel, there's ways to give in the description. I hope to see you next time. Peace.